We touch baseball, basketball, and football on this week's Hot Cards of the Week. Welcome in to Hot in the Hobby, the show where I detail 5 of the hottest cards driving markets forward over the past, well, in this case, 2 weeks. Thanks for tuning into the show. I'm Mr. Hollywood, and if you were holding any of these 5 cards 2 weeks ago, you're sitting real pretty. So let's get right into it for this week, starting with Anthony Simons, the guard for now the Boston Celtics, and his 2018 Prism Silver in a PSA 10 was up 178% to $100 over the past 2 weeks. This was just a $35 card 2 weeks ago. Of course, Anthony Simons was traded from the Portland Trail Blazers to the Boston Celtics last week in exchange for Drew Holiday and 2 second-round draft picks. The Celtics also sent Kristaps Porzingis to Atlanta to clear cap space in order to retain Al Horford and Luke Kornet, apparently. Now, this is kind of interesting because the Celtics are also now apparently shopping Simons along with Niang, trying to clear even more cap space. He does have an expiring $27.7 million contract here. And to be honest with you, I'm not a huge fan of Simons, honestly. Yes, he can score the basketball and create shots, but not at a very efficient clip. He shoots just 42% from the field, and the kicker here is that he is not a good perimeter defender, and that is not a stretch at all. He's just not a good defender. Maybe the Grizzlies could be a good fit for him after they traded Desmond Bane to the Magic, although that would be a really bad backcourt defensively between Simons and Ja Morant. The Bucks also could make sense too if Lillard misses all of next season and if Giannis does end up staying in Milwaukee, who knows. Interesting for this card to be up so much, in my opinion. And with another trade possible or likely, I don't like the value here. I don't know why this thing's $100. I'm not buying it. Moving on to hot card number 2, and that is Chase Burns, the pitcher for the Cincinnati Reds in his 2024 Bowman Draft Chrome first autograph in a PSA 10, which is up 93.7% to $368 over the past 2 weeks. Of course, Burns was called up to the majors last week after going 7-3 in the minor leagues with just a 1.77 ERA, a .77 WHIP over 66 innings, and he struck out 89 batters. The minors was just clearly not a challenge for Chase Burns anymore. And he has come up and he went 5 innings against the Yankees last week, allowing 3 earned with 8 strikeouts in his first ever start in the major leagues. This guy's about as dominant as they're gonna come out of the minors. Huge swing and miss stuff. And honestly, I think a really bright future for Chase Burns. Good to see that he didn't walk a single batter either in his MLB debut. That's a rarity. And it's good to see that his nerves handled that very well. Now, there are so many elite young arms in the game right now. Between this guy, Paul Skeens, Jacob Mizorowski, etc., etc., I could go on. And I love the talent. I honestly love the young MLB talent that is out there right now, both pitching and hitting. I think the last few years has been some of the most talented classes that we've seen come through the minors and into the majors in a really long time. But, you know, we'll see how the elbow holds up. But I do really like Burns as a pitcher, and I think he'll be a front-end rotation guy for years, hopefully. The Reds really need a front-end of the rotation guy above all else. I think they have a lot of really good young offensive weapons, and it's really the pitching that is going to take them over the top, I think. So I do like Chase Burns. I'm always just so terrified with elbows, as is everyone else. But let's move on to hot card number 3 for this week, and it is Juan Sodto, outfielder for the New York Mets. Looking at his 2018 Topps Heritage rookie card in a PSA 10 here, population count's pretty big, 7,632. But it was up 79.2% to $55 over the past couple of weeks. This was a $30 card just 14 days ago. It was really only a matter of time, let's be honest, before Juan Sodto got going for the Mets. So far in 2025 now, he's hitting .258 with 20 homers, 47 RBIs, and a .902 OPS. That OPS has climbed into the 9s. I expect he will finish closer to the 1,000 range. Hopefully, But June was crazy for Juan Sodto. He hit 329 in June with 11 homers, 19 RBIs, and a 1.259 OPS. That was pretty much tops in baseball, that OPS, I think, for the month of June. At least if there was someone else with higher OPS in June, then that's a crazy, crazy month. So yeah, just a ludicrous June for Juan Sodto. Yet the Mets relinquished first place in the NL East standings to the Phillies as of late. That was kind of surprising. And they're just 3-12 over the past couple of weeks plus, which is not good. They lost Kodai Senga to an injury a week ago. But I'm not really worried for Sodto or for the Mets, honestly. We'll see them in October. Juan Sodto is a beast in October. I think his card market will be stable long term as long as he doesn't get hurt and have it affect his play long term. And I think when it's all said and done, Juan Sodto, in my opinion, will actually go down as a better hobby buy to me than Mike Trout at the end of their respective careers. Maybe some of you guys want to debate that with me, but while Trout has for sure more talent overall, he just cannot stay on the field or play any games that have any sort of significance that actually matter. And that has a really big impact on his value. So to me, Sotto's going to finish with numbers far beyond Trout, in my opinion. And while I think Sodto is massively overrated from a contract perspective and from a batting average inconsistency perspective, I think his numbers by the end of his career will probably outshine Trout at the end of the day. I don't love either one of them, honestly, though. As a long-term hobby buy, that's just me. I wonder what you guys think. But let's move on to hot card number 4, and that is Joe Burrow, quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals. His 2020 Prism Base rookie card in the PSA 9 and PSA 10. The PSA 10 was up 21.4% to $146. The PSA 9 was up 64.6% to $45 over the past 2 weeks. I honestly think Joe Burrow is a really, really good buy this offseason. I actually bought a 1-of-1 RPA with a piece of Joe Burrow's helmet from kind of a lesser set. It was out of Panini XR. I think it was like a BGS 8.5 with a 10 autograph. I paid like $2,500 for it or something, which to me, to have a Burrow true 1-of-1 graded 8.5, 10 for like $2,500, that's a steal to me. I'll actually have that card with me, probably at the West Coast Card Show. It will be available for sale. You will not be able to get it for $2,500 though, I can tell you that. But in 2024, Joe Burrow threw for 400, more like in one game. In the whole season, he threw for almost 5,000 yards, 4,918 yards, 43 tutties, 9 picks with a 108.5 quarterback rating. Over his career, he's thrown for over 19,000 yards already, 140 TDs to just 46 picks with a 101.2 rating, and he's missed a decent amount of games. This dude is quite simply probably the best quarterback in the NFL. He has the best receiver in the NFL in Jamar Chase. And that receiver has probably the best sidekick receiver in the NFL lining up on the other side in T. Higgins. This Bengals team just had a historically horrific defense last year, and I mean historically horrific. Like, I think there was some sort of stat, I forget what it was, but for a team that put up as many points as the Bengals did last year, for them to have the record they did was statistically the worst performance in NFL history for the amount of points they scored for where the team finished in terms of record or something like that. But they have gone out and addressed or tried to address the problem by adding 3 defensive picks in their first 4 rounds of the draft. They drafted Shamar Stewart, an edge rusher out of A&M at 17. They drafted Demetrius Knight at linebacker at pick number 49. And then they added another linebacker, Barrett Carter, at 119. Their defense literally cannot be any worse. And like it can't possibly be any worse. And Burrow and Chase will do their thing. I've been on the record as saying it for a long time. Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase together, that is like, if they had a good defense, that is like the new Montana Rice. I mean, it's like they are that good. I think this is for sure a playoff team this year. They barely missed the playoffs last year after a disastrous start. Remember that Burrow has elite playoff experience already, having gone to a Super Bowl already and having beaten Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. So yeah, I love Burrow in this spot, which my favorite card, by the way, of Joe Burrow, I talk about it all the time. I've been talking about it since this channel started over a year ago, is that orange laser prism in a PSA 10. We'll put a picture of it on your screen. Unreal looking color match. I think creeping back up close to $400 a card now in a PSA 10. I think I had that on my Invest segment 6 months ago and a year ago when it was like $300 or $250, something like that. Good to see that card coming back. I sold that card for almost $700, maybe like a year and a half, 2 years ago. By the way, if you guys want access to any of the charts, graphs, or card comping numbers that I use Market Movers for all of my card comping needs. If you log on to marketmovers.com, if you go on your phone and go to the marketmovers.com website, or your computer, go to the marketmovers.com website and sign up using the code Hollywood, you will get a free 2-week trial and then 20% off your membership for the rest of your life, not once or twice, or like a year discount, then your Spectrum cable bill doubles and you're like, what the heck's going on? You gotta call them to get it back down. I mean like 20% off, 20% off for life, forever, I swear, forever. No strings attached. So if you want to comp cards like the pros, I suggest you do so there. But moving on to our last card of the week, and to no surprise, finishing it off in our last spot this week is, of course, Cooper Flagg, the brand new forward for the Dallas Mavericks, and his 2024 Bowman Chrome U, first Bowman in a PSA 10, which is up 42% to $90 over the past 2 weeks and climbing. Cooper Flagg was, of course, drafted first overall by the Dallas Mavericks in the NBA draft last week, and what a way to replace Luka Doncic in Dallas. Honestly, this might be a stretch, or maybe it isn't, but if Kyrie Irving can come back healthy for the Mavs next year, and this team can kind of stay afloat in contention and actually make the playoffs, and they do have Kyrie at full health along with Cooper Flagg, and AD is not hurt for the playoffs, I think this Mavericks team can legitimately contend. I think if they were starting the year totally healthy, I think this would be one of the best teams in the NBA. I was honestly rooting for Flagg to go to San Antonio and team up with Wembanyama, but I'll settle for this. This is going to be a lot of fun. Cooper Flagg is 6'9". He's a 6'9" forward out of Duke, where he was a one and done. He averaged 19.2 points, 7.5 rebounds, 4.2 assists, 1.4 blocks, 1.4 steals on 48% shooting. He shot 39% from downtown and 84% from the free throw line. And this dude can defend as well. He does it all. And I think he's going to be an absolute star in the NBA. When his cards come out of the gates, the licensed ones, they are going to be really hot. His NBA debut patch card, which, by the way, will be licensed. Fanatics and Topps receive the NBA license this year. Football is the one that will come next year. I think that debut patch is going to be $1 million card. I really think someone's going to pay $1 million for it. His Bowman Chrome U Superfractor Auto 1 of 1 in a PSA 9 with a 10 autograph just sold last night on golden.com for $97,600. So the hype here is real. Although personally, as much as I love Cooper Flagg, I am shifting away and steering clear from a lot of super modern stuff more and more, and going towards the vintage stuff. It's just kind of a safer play, honestly. I have a lot of super modern stuff, but starting to build out more the vintage side of my personal collection. But that will wrap things up for me on this week's episode of Hot in the Hobby. Hope you enjoyed this week's show. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate your support, and ring that notification bell as well so you don't miss the next one, which will be Cardboard Critics, I believe. It'll be our Invest in These Cards Now segment. So until next time, I'm Mr. Hollywood, and I'll see you guys at the next one. Mr. Hollywood, out.